the people, by the people. For the culture.
Peace, Jumbo. Welcome to the VITAL HOOPS Podcast. My name is Fernando Cardenas, aka International Ed's Beat. I am your host. This is episode number 74. First of the year, 2025. Happy New Year to everybody out there checking out the VITAL HOOPS Podcast. I appreciate your support, and 2025 is going to be a great year for the show. We're starting off with an amazing guest that is no stranger to the show. He's no stranger to the platform either. He's my comrade and co-host at the Rise Up International Morning Show. And to start off the year, we're going to be talking about Ganja. Our guest today is Isaac Jasper. Isaac, welcome to the VITAL HOOPS Podcast, my brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. It's glad to be back. This is round 2 on VITAL HOOPS.
That's right.
Can't wait to get into the conversation.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it, man. Now you're officially a friend of the show, brother.
Exactly.
It's good to have you on, comrade. It's really dope to have you back on. I've been wanting to have you back on, man. And we found the perfect topic today, which we're gonna get into in a minute. But first and foremost, before we do anything else, there's two things I wanna get into. First, everybody, please, Black Power Media, Reloaded. Make sure you support us. You know what I mean? Make sure you like this video, share it. Go to the Patreon if you can, become a patron. Just support what we're doing over here at Black Power Media. We appreciate you, and we're gonna continue doing the work over here. So that's that. We got a lot of shows coming up this year. 2025 is gonna be a great year for Black Power Media Reloaded. And second thing I want to say is the Indigenous Nightmare Network. Right away, let's get into that. I want you all to go over right now to the Comrade Isaac's YouTube. If you're not tuned in to the Indigenous Nightmare Network, you need to be right away. So if you could, Isaac, real quick, tell them about what you got going on over there, what it is that you do.
Yeah, first off, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to have a second round with you. It always means a lot to me to know to have conversations with comrades and for us to tie this into, dialectical, historical material analysis in regards to everything that we talk about. Your show, I always I always shout you out on mine, especially every time I say vital. Shout out to VITAL HOOPS. Your show is like your title. It's very vital for you to have what you have and for the people to be able to interact with it. The Indigenous Nightmare Network is a network. We just recently got we have one co-host that is Afro-Indigenous that will be joining as of next week, but the networking of it itself is nothing more than an indigenous version to what we do on Black Power Media Reloaded. It's a safe space for indigenous people to be able to talk about their struggles, their liberation, to be able to analyze certain situations. But most importantly, we live under a colonial smoke and mirrors, imperial smoke and mirrors to be exact, that likes to manufacture consent in regards to our what we consume in media. And so, my network goes heavy into geopolitical analysis. We go heavy into getting people to understand what other indigenous people across the globe are going through. And so, it's a network that I don't necessarily think has been constructed or created. And so we're in the works of doing that. And that's what makes it beautiful. And you're also one of the co-hosts over there. I could say too, breaking the backboard every so often when you have the time. And we don't just do geopolitical analysis. We, for a long period of time, we got into reviewing movies, so much so that I've put in Freedom of Information Acts for movies that where scripts were changed by the Pentagon. They were changed by the Department of Defense in order to gain funding or in order to create this manufactured consent of, trying to legitimize imperial military expansion. And that has led to 2025 and us hopefully working on a second volume of National Security Cinema, where we go over another round of movies and TV series is that we know have gotten DoD funding. I could actually give you one right now that we're going to be investigating next week and going over is Mr. Beast. He's like a child. I don't know if your kid watches Mr. Beast, but I would highly advise you to stop, or if, to make sure that he doesn't watch Mr. Beast, because he's connected to the Department of Justice, has received millions of dollars to manipulate children into believing in military expansion, believing in occupational military strategies, and then using things like a game that I play, like Fortnite, to manipulate the masses of people, manipulate children into believing these imperial narratives. So that's the Indigenous Nightmare Network. We have a new show that's going to be airing in a couple of weeks with guests every bi-weekly. Called Decolonizing Media. And so that would be hosted by myself, for which I go in depth with one person. It's a one-person interview, like how we're doing here. And we just break down certain instances, particularly pertaining to the guest. So I can say right now that the two individuals that will be the first guests on Decolonizing Media will be Matt Kennard from Declassified UK, as soon as I can get a date in line, and Laith Maroof, who is a friend of Black Power Media Reloaded, friend of the Indigenous Nightmare Network, and is the co-founder of FP TV, which is Free Palestine TV.video, which is another Indigenous network that is showcasing all of the atrocities that's have been going on abroad in West Asia, in particular. So stay tuned for that. And I know you guys got some stuff that's cooking up too. So, but I'll let you speak on that.
No, I appreciate that, man. Everybody can see how important, the Indigenous Nightmare Network is and the work that you're doing over there, man. So I appreciate for that. Since it is the first month of the year, I want to take this opportunity also to shout out a couple more important platforms, independent platforms that are doing the work. That is, of course, We Charge Colonialism with the comrades over there, Ikemba and Natasha. Shout out to them. Make sure you go check that out. I also want to shout out Kimbunga Media with the comrade Shakara. Shakara was on this show as well, on the Vital Hoops Podcast.
One of my favorite episodes to watch, by the way.
Appreciate that, man. That is one of my favorites as well. So shout out to the brother Shakara. It was Race First. That was a good one. And also want to shout out Why's the Dome TV, with the brother Rakeem Shabazz. Great one as well. If you're not familiar with that, go check it out. Why's the Dome TV.
He puts in a lot of work, for the viewers, just to elaborate a little bit more on that. He puts in a lot of work that doesn't necessarily get enough credit for. And so I just want to say, much love and respect to Rakeem. Why's the Dome? Before I had my show, I was watching Why's the Dome. So that just goes to show you that he's been around. He, is no new kid on the block, no new man on the block, I should say. It's a show that's been around and will continue to be around as long as people enjoy it like I do. So, so yeah, shout out. Hopefully we get him on BPM though. I think that's the goal, right?
We will. We will. Shout out to the brother, yo. So listen, today's topic. Let's get into it, man. We talking about marijuana. We're talking about ganja.
Yeah.
We're talking about that good herb. You know what I mean?
Icky.
That's been around for so long, and that has helped out so many people, throughout the years. I do want to say I had a episode early is actually episode 4 of my podcast.
Wow.
Where I actually spoke about this a little bit. It's called The Healing of a Nation. But today I'm glad to have you on to elaborate a little bit more about this because it is an important topic. And so, yeah, it's a topic that's close to my heart as well because, I'm not a regular smoker, but marijuana has been around me, throughout my life culturally, people that are close to me have been smoking. I do smoke. I smoke, but once in a while. I'm not like a everyday smoker. I'll smoke for like, a party or an event or something like that. But I do consume CBD. I consume hemp, you know what I mean, on a pretty regular basis. And I think so. I think it's something that's important to talk about because, marijuana is something that has been demonized throughout the years,
Mm.
not just in the United States, not just in France, but throughout the world. Bob Marley used to say, we know why it's because, it make you rebel. That's what Bob used to say. The ganja make you rebel. The alcohol makes you sleep, it makes you dumb, but the ganja makes you rebel. You know what I'm saying? So rising power to Bob Marley. But yeah, man, I want to start off with CBD, and me being an athlete, I've been on CBD for a few years now. They say that there haven't been enough studies
Hmm.
to be sure about, all the physical benefits of CBD, right? But the research does show for sure the reduction of anxiety, of stress, which is beneficial to so many people today, in our society,
Mm.
but also the athletes, because athletes do go through a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, pressure as far as, their performances on the court, which sometimes leads to their next contract, their survival, what I'm saying, depending on what athletes we're talking about. Because not all athletes are millionaires making all that money. Some of them depend on their next contract. They have to make sure, there's a lot of, different aspects of being a professional athlete. But for everybody in general. So we do have research on that. But anyway, for those who don't know, CBD has an anti-inflammatory effect.
Yeah.
It has pain relief properties. It helps with muscle repair, which is obviously, like I said, great for athletes. And it helps with sleep quality. And we know that as athletes, sleep is key for recovery. That's when we recover is when we're sleeping. As far as, for those of you who don't know, I'm also, I'm working on my health and wellness certification, and as a health coach, I understand that, sleep is a main pillar to health. People take that, they don't really most people don't really focus on it, but it's super important. It is
Mm.
like top three. It's just as important as nutrition and exercise. If you don't get your sleep, a dead man walking pretty soon. So sleep is
Yeah.
very important for sure. So, CBD is known to help your sleep quality. CBD can also help with depression, because it activates your happy hormones, what we call it, the happy hormones.
Happy hormones. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So CBD can definitely have some positive impact as far as depression. And again, in our society, there's a lot of depression due to the system of oppression, and how everybody's just so pressured to so many things. So yeah, like I said, when we talk in health and wellness, I like to encourage people to first try certain methods before telling people to take a substance. Even
Hmm.
even if CBD is a great substance, in my opinion, it's natural and it's all beneficial. There's no negative side effects, right? But I like to think about methods like, breath work, meditation, all these types of things that one can incorporate into their lifestyle, and it can help you, get better sleep, etc. And then things like CBD can add to that. You know what I'm saying? Um, for athletes that are, like high level athletes, right, that get
Hmm.
tested, etc., they do have to be careful because CBD, even though it has supposedly no THC or it's very low, the THC is very low. When they get tested, it can show up as positive. So, you definitely, if you're a professional athlete and you get tested or whatever, you have to check with the brands, make sure that everything is good and that if you get tested, you won't be, positive. So
Hmm.
yeah, so that's as far as CBD. CBD is actually fairly new as it's a thing that's growing now. That's why, like I said, the research there hasn't been that much research as far as everything else, but it's definitely positive and there's definitely no negative side effects. It is something that, like I said, I do take it. I don't take it constantly. There's nothing that I take constantly. I don't take any supplement constantly, not even me being a vegan. I don't take B12 all the time. I take nothing all the time. I do cycles. I might take something for, a couple, 2, 3 months, then I'll get off of it, and then I may come back to it. But I don't take any supplement, constantly every day of every year. I don't do that. So, but yeah, I do like CBD and I do recommend it for those of you that are interested. I want to get into hemp, man, because hemp is something that is way older than CBD that's been
Oh,
that's been
yes.
around
Yes.
that's been around for the years. I think hemp is almost like a superfood, because it is super
Ooh, yes.
healthy,
Yes.
especially for athletes. It's very high in protein. And for those of you who are interested in protein and all that, hemp does have all 9 amino acids,
Yes.
and in high amounts, because that's the thing. Actually, people are misleading when it comes to plant protein. All plants have all 9 amino acids, but the difference is that some of them may have it in lower amounts, a little bit lower amounts. So you may have to combine plants in order to get high amounts. But hemp has high amounts of all 9 amino acids necessary. So it is a great source of protein and it's easily digestible for humans. I want to say
Mhm.
that that's important. So meaning that a lot of things have a lot of protein, but you're not necessarily digesting it right and you're not getting all the protein content. So hemp is easily digestible. There is also no allergy cases. There have been no allergy cases reported. So that means that, obviously it's good consumption for humans. And it's also a great source of fatty acids, so omega-3s, which are necessary. It's high in zinc and other essential minerals. So yeah, and I actually have a pair of shoes also, a
Did it have shoes?
yeah,
That's dope.
I
That's
do.
dope.
I have a pair of shoes that I rock a lot, that I like. But yeah, I mean hemp is used in so many ways. And I do consume it as well. Hemp seeds, I sprinkle that on salads or fruit, whatever, and it's all good and healthy, man. But yeah, speak a little bit about that, man.
Yeah,
Hemp. I know you have some.
you brought up CBD, which like how you said is a very, very new to society. And I
Hmm.
have to highlight the reason why it's new is because and we have to always go back to this historical decolonial analysis of everything
Yes.
in regards to hemp or in regards to reefer or whatever you want to call it, marijuana, ganja, whatever. It only makes the shelf or it only makes it to where you're able to consume it via financially, and unless the imperial powers have that ability. But I'll dig it even further. When white folks started to ask for this, that's when it started to become legalized. Let's just keep it a buck.
Mm.
um in regards to hemp though, hemp is not something that's new.
Right.
Hemp has been around. Hemp has over 25,000 uses, from its seeds, like how you said, which are nutrient dense and amino acids, literally can be eaten raw or or made into milk. There's such things as hemp wool, hempcrete, but most importantly, we have to hone in on the 25,000 things can be made out of hemp. So
Wow.
that means that there's 25,000 things in the world right now that could easily be remade to help suit the needs of the body, to help suit the needs of the mind, to help suit the needs of our environment, to live healthy.
Of our planet.
And
Yep,
and
for sure.
and and they're made out of byproducts of oil emissions, like nylon. Nylon is a carbon emission. It's a byproduct of a carbon emission.
Yes.
And so that's why it's so mass produced, because they've taken parts of the detriment to our society, and they've literally made money off of furthering the sickness.
Hmm.
Hemp was first, cultivated back in, 18,000 BC in Mesopotamia. They were weaving hemp cord into pottery, so they were making potteries out that. But even more so, you can go back to hemp is one of the first cultivated plants, along with olives, along with figs.
Wow.
The Quran talks a lot about figs and talks a lot about the olives and how they were created,
Yeah.
and how they were one of the first plants that people cultivated. I'm not Muslim, but I do subscribe heavily to the Quran, in from a historical footing. China, has been cultivating hemp for over 6,000 years, first converting hemp into textiles that later in 150 BCE was the first hemp paper. Examples of that is the Magna Carta was made out of hemp. And so, for me, I like to look at the historical positive, things that have happened, and how hemp became a mass product.
Yeah.
Hemp, and the occupation of indigenous lands, as I have written down here, in
Hmm.
1535, King Henry the 13th of England required 1/4 of an acre to be given to growing hemp on the land. So what does that mean? That means that the people here who own slaves, okay, the people here who owned, quote unquote, owned land, but really stole it from indigenous people.
Right.
One of the first plants that my ancestors, your ancestors, cultivated here in the occupied territories of Americas was hemp. Before it was the cotton gin, before the cotton gin was created. I actually write down right here the first group of snow roaches in Jamestown, Virginia, mandated farmers to grow hemp in 1619. Soon after, mass commitment and the Chesapeake Bay colonies all enacted the same laws. It was used as a form of currency in certain colonies. So that
Yeah.
means if you had hemp, that means that you had a certain form you could trade.
Yeah.
Hemp was met with a problem of cultivation and a lack of labor, which was violently solved with slavery and the cotton gin. So when the cotton gin was created, that's essentially when we started to see the outlawing of hemp or marijuana, one of the first stages of it. And it was around the time when the steam engines and cotton gins were around. And literally, there was a title of a news article literally titled "Steam Engines and Cotton Gins versus Hemp." So like it was like they were competing against hemp at the same time of exploiting Africans and indigenous people at the same time for that all to be cultivated. Hemp was cultivated by enslaved Africans later who cultivated and picked cotton. So our ancestors, the cotton industry completely toppled hemp. So completely made it to where hemp was obsolete. No one wanted to work with it. They said it was too difficult to cultivate. They didn't have enough people to do it, yada, yada, yada. In 1919, the steam engines took the profits away from the cotton industry and started to overshadow hemp clothing in general. So wow, it's wild, right? That a steam engine can just completely obliterate a whole entire industry like that. But this is where it gets tricky, and you start to see where capitalism and settler colonialism, start to make way as far as like their aesthetics and how they started to treat certain aspects of hemp. So there's a guy by the name of G.W. Shislin who took out a patent for a machine that would reduce labor required to produce hemp. So if there's less labor, that means that you don't need slaves, right? That means that slaves are obsolete. You don't need them. That's not what the South wanted. The South wanted to uphold the values of slavery. So what did they do? They outlawed the hemp gin and said, no, we have the cotton gin and we need all of these individuals to be our sheeps. And this was essentially the first version of hemp. And so, moving forward, we see these notes are like 4 years old, by the way, but they still hold such merit. Because of racist settler colonial snow roaches, weed and hemp was banned in California. It was an amendment called the Poison Act. It outlawed use of the drugs and result of the association with its counterparts, its cousins, which is hemp. From 1917 to 1925, hemp cultivation went from 42,000 acres to only 600 acres, meaning that they weren't cultivating hemp really at all. Then comes the Reefer Madness era. In this Reefer Madness era, the campaign was driven by newspaper tycoon William Hurt's fear of hemp taking over traditional tree paper making operations. So literally, he was scared that hemp was going to take away the fact that they were shaving, making paper out of wood, which we all know that hemp could easily be made. Hemp paper is made now. I've rolled blunts with I've rolled blunts with hemp paper. So this campaign, again, is as much as it was, he didn't want the paper industry to dwindle, is so much so that he was working in reciprocity with fossil fuel chemical companies like the DuPonts, who derived and crushed anything that was regarding hemp and threatened it, because it was competing against hemp was essentially the biggest competitor against nylon. So these, again, all of these things that are detrimental to our health, our society, are the things that they want to keep afloat while we
that
have
hemp can
hemp
fix.
that hemp can fix. And for years, they have been outlawing it because they know how important it is. By 1937, conservative settlers, had occupied and accomplished the last a nail in the coffin by enacting the 1937 Mary Jane Tax Act, which placed a heavy tax on all cannabis and hemp products, meaning all cannabis and hemp products were uber expensive. So much so that you were outpriced and you never were going to be able to buy it. Because of how high that tax rate was. The U.S. occupation only accepted hemp when they needed more military cotton clothing in World War II. This was hemp for. They literally had a slogan called "Hemp for Victory." So again, they only want hemp to be administered when it can help them aid in imperial wars, continue the enslavement of Africans. If it starts to impede on those things, then it's outlawed. But if it doesn't, we want you. We need your clothing. We need it. A main focal point of clothing from 1400s all the way to the 1500s was hemp cultivation. Most clothes were made out of hemp. And so you see right here, by 1958, hemp had produced its last significant harvest for industrial hemp by the U.S. occupation. And then we go even further. This is where hemp starts to, and this goes back to what I was saying. It's like, okay, well, they only want it until they can make some money off of it, or until white people make a muck out of things, and so it becomes a necessity for it to be administered into society. So when white women want to smoke hemp, that's when it was made possible. A new hope in hemp. As of 2019, 46 states are allowed to grow hemp based products for commercial purposes. Again, for commercial purposes. It was removed as a Schedule 1 drug and is now considered a commodity crop in the eyes of the feds, driven by a boom in CBD and hemp based foods. Over 148,700 acres were farmed in 2019. So it went from 42,000 to 600, all the way up to 148,000 acres, almost 149,000 acres. Why? And we have to question that, because capitalism found a niche to be able to make money off of it.
Right.
It says right here, by 2026, which is literally next year, hemp will grow by 18%. That number is actually changed. Hemp right now is one of the major commodities, one of the major plants that is being exported and imported here in the occupied territories of Turtle Island. Hemp is more sustainable than alternatives like fossil fuels fossil fuel derived plastics or carbon hungry concrete. We should be making houses out of hempcrete right now. Wow. Which is a mixture of lime, a little bit of minerals, and actual ground up hemp. Like how you said, as much as it's good for our body, it is good for an exterior, product as well. Building houses, building roadways. Our roads should be made out of hempcrete right now. So much so that it would help our environment, and we get rid of all of this, concrete that just heats up our earth so much so that we wonder why climate change will never be addressed properly. Well, because one, we live under imperialism and they don't want to address climate change. And secondly, when they do try and address climate change, they do it in a way that's like, well, how can we continue what we're doing? But at a slower rate,
at a slower rate. Let's just consume differently. Let's just find...
exactly. Instead of gas emissions, let's create a green imperialism, and start, extracting lithium, which is horrible when it reaches the surface, when it reaches oxygen levels. It's horrible for the environment.
Absolutely.
Hemp under capitalism is just mass consumption and production of CBD and less hemp-based products like hempcrete. To move away from extractive monocultural farming to a regenerative polycultural stewardship. Which that only comes through a scientific socialist lens. That means using appropriate technologies, examples, no-till methods, compost, crop restoration, among many other systems to sequester carbon and heal the soil as well. These methods are being practiced in real time by tribal hemp initiatives through the Anishinaabe Agricultural Institute in northern Minnesota, which I will hopefully this year have the chance to visit. and
Nice.
be able to put this research at least on paper. It's
Yeah.
already on paper, but some hemp paper. The end of single-use plastics usable life marks the start of most of the lifespan of only 9% of it has ever been recycled, meaning that we produce so much plastic that only 9% of it has ever been recycled, which means that
That's crazy.
our earth is riddled with trash and debris that is off of the backs of byproduct emissions. Capitalism's approach to fixing overcrowded recycling centers worldwide is to burn plastic, which is horrible for the environment. Horrible for
Absolutely.
the environment. Incineration to manage plastic waste. This is the worst possible approach to handling single-use plastics. Even plastics lying inert on our lands, beaches, and oceans release greenhouse gases as it breaks down over time in centuries. It'll take centuries for plastic to break down.
Yeah.
Studies have shown that plastics are now jeopardizing the ocean's life-sustaining ability and trap carbon from atmosphere, oceanic carbon sink. So again, the ocean has a job. It's to attract carbon emissions and to lock it down like a magnet at the bottom of our oceans. It's kind of hard to do that when you have plastic that sits at the top that then emits greenhouse gases, and then at the same time below we're fracking for oil, causing mass, ecocide,
Yes.
from shaving off mountains. So a culmination of all of this gets you what we're into today and why hemp is so important and why it's so vital, because it could fix 25,000 things plus right now could be switched out with hemp. And I guarantee you within the next 5 to 10 years, we'll start seeing positive things happen. Respiratory issues will start to dwindle. We'll start to see carbon emissions will start to dwindle away because we're not creating carbon emissions. We're not fracking. We're not doing anything because hemp can bring us through the 25,000 plus things that it could be made out of. It gives us that ability to make to live in a society where we're not killing our earth, bro. Like I
No doubt. No, I appreciate
most
that, man.
importantly, Winona LaDuke and many others are working to bring traditional hemp farming techniques in parallel with modern practices to create a thriving indigenous-led hemp industry that runs counter to the fossil fuel thirsty industry, industrial agriculture by demonstrating that an ethical world is possible. Oil and gas undergo one of the most energy intensive industrial processes, basically to turn that turns it into plastic. In 2015, global emissions from processes were as much as 45 million cars. Like literally, them making plastic products. So they're making cups, making bowls, making
Right.
spoons, making forks, anything that's pertaining to plastic that could be made out of hemp.
Hmm.
All of that was created and equivalents to 45 million cars emitting gas.
Wow.
Literally just the exhaust on, just
Yeah,
just
yeah,
just running. That is wild to know that
that's
45
crazy.
million cards adds up to one measly warehouse or factory that creates these gas, emitted products. 40% of this plastic is manufactured for single-use packaging. Literally, single-use packaging is like when you go to when you go to a restaurant, and the plastic forks or you see the spoons, that's single use. So that means it gets thrown away. Where does that trash end up? That trash normally gets sent out to the middle of the ocean, emitting greenhouse gases on an island that they've created, multitudes of islands that they've created that are made out of trash. Like they're made out of literal trash. Lastly, though, right here, it says the plastic industry plans to invest over $204 billion in plastic production by 2025, which means we're here.
Yeah, we're here.
So again, these notes are almost 4 years old.
Wow.
And we're already seeing what I wrote down 4 years ago. We are seeing happen today.
For
The
sure.
pro says right here, if it progresses over time by 2050, we will emit 13% of our entire remaining carbon budget before global temperatures rise, surpassing 1.5 degrees Celsius. We passed 1.5 degrees Celsius last year. So we're
Hmm.
already at this stage where they're ramping up. The $204 billion is already in effect in 2025. These comes from these corporations, again, that just funneled billions of dollars into getting Elon Musk and Trump into office, so that they can, in part take over and control certain areas of the government that, you know, essentially are put in place to make sure that these corporations don't overstep their boundaries. They don't, you know, impede on people's rights or even humanity for that matter.
Yeah.
And we all know that Project 2025, culmination of that, a big chapter of Project 2025 literally is outlawing things like hemp,
Hmm.
outlawing things that, you know, it essentially would help our environment and that would put corporate capitalism on the Hague. And so yeah, that's my roundabout historical understanding of hemp. I can give you some personal things. Hemp for a long period of time, was something, it still is. I wake up almost every day trying to figure out if they've made hemp satellites, if there's like anything like that. Hemp right now can be made into graphite, which is what's used for solar panels.
Mm.
We could be making solar panels out of hemp. We could be making at one point, there's hemp batteries, by the way, if people
Yeah.
don't realize, there's hemp batteries where we can be making cars could be made out of hemp,
Mm.
hemp metal.
That's
Uh,
crazy,
uh,
man. It's
it's
amazing, man. It's amazing the amount of things that we could do if we were in a system where that would put, people over profit. You know what I'm
that
saying?
part.
And people and animals and the earth, the well-being of the planet, you know what I'm saying? It would be, hemp is definitely like you said. You said how many things? How many things that can be made out of hemp?
25,000 plus, and I would even go on to say that there's probably at this point now, since these notes are about 4 years old, I would say roughly about 100,000 things could probably be made out of hemp right now,
That would be
and
game changer. I think it would be less than 5 to 10 years, man. We would see a change without a doubt. We would see a change in less than 5 to 10 years if we were to truly incorporate all these things, man, with hemp. Because like you said, all these
that the
other
first
materials.
was that the first hit taken on your show or what?
Hey man. Hey man,
Like
salute, man. Salute for that one. It might be actually, you're definitely not the first smoker, but it might be the first hit. Yeah, but but yeah, speaking about a hit, let's talk about, marijuana as far as smoking and, recreational use. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? I want to add that, the smoking of marijuana also has helped a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, as far as people that have extreme pains with diseases, many cancers and things like that. People have been able to relieve their pains just through smoking. But I do want to say that when it comes to smoking, as a health and wellness coach, the act of smoking is already, when you're burning something up, inside your body, the chemical aspect of it and just what it does to your lungs is already, it's somewhat problematic already. I also want to say that, the smoking of ganja, I don't think it's for everybody. Certain people just don't do good with it. I have a couple of people that are close to me that I know that they just, they need to stop smoking because they're not productive when they're smoking. They just don't function. They don't function very well. They procrastinate a whole lot, so it's not for everybody. But sir, I know
Yeah.
I know I have also a lot of people that are
I,
close to me that
I'll
function
keep it.
very well. That
I'll
function
keep
well.
it I'll keep it very honest and open for the BPM Reloaded viewers. Um, if you guys think I ain't on under the influence on the Rise Up Morning Show, then I highly advise you guys to go back and watch some of these
Rethink
episodes
that.
because
Rethink
because
that.
I wouldn't be able to get through some of these conversations that we have over there
Mm,
if it wasn't for taking that little breather
mm.
during like a break for Black Power just to be able to mellow out, you
Yeah,
know, especially after talking about like serious worldly horrific things that happen
absolutely.
to our, you know, diaspora.
Yeah,
Um and you make a valid point, you know, too. Not everybody will be able to smoke, which is
yeah,
that's a beauty that we're holistic people. We have to
absolutely.
understand that we're
Yeah,
holistic people,
yeah,
meaning
yeah.
that the plant is holistic as well,
No
in
doubt.
in every form. Some people might like to eat, you know, eat cannabis, you know, as a way of consumption. Some people just might like secondhand smoke, you know, where you just want to be in a room full of the smoke, but you don't want to physically inhale it or put your lip to a joint or a blunt or
Yeah.
a pipe like
Them
I do.
cookies, them cookies are a good option. but but
Cookies
you
are a good option.
but you
Cake is a
definitely
good
have to be
option.
careful because you
Brownies
have a
are a good
small, have a
option.
little piece of a cookie. Because
Ooh, dude, I at one it was like a couple years ago. I
mm,
didn't even realize it. I was
mm,
like, oh, this ain't gonna give me. This isn't gonna give me. I ate three 500 milligram brownies,
dang,
bro.
dang,
I was zoned. I
for
was
3 days,
zoned
right? Say the
for
truth.
three that no, you're right though. Like it was, I
Yeah,
didn't have to smoke it. I
yeah,
was
yeah,
high.
yeah, yeah,
It was it, but it, and I want to also emphasize too, if you're just getting high just to get high, that's the problem.
yeah. Mm,
If you're getting high because you do be like the work that I do, I'm sorry, but if you think I'm not smoking a joint at the end of the day after researching and getting sent videos of children with missing brains and stuff like that,
mm.
if you think I'm not, that it's a form of relief.
Right.
And like how you said, in some instances it helps with anxiety, it
Yeah,
helps with
absolutely.
being anxious and stuff like that. And
Mm,
so not everybody, like how you said, is going to be able to use it, but that's why CBD was also created, for those that just want to be able to have the healthy aspects of it.
yeah, 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 for sure.
I was working on a reservation, Yamava, Band of Mission Indians in San Bernardino,
Mm.
and I was having to use CBD lotion. I was, clearing out trees for them so that they can start plotting out land and whatnot for houses. So I started clearing out trees. It's one of the first jobs I ever fucking had, like that I actually enjoyed, because I was on the res, I was, working with my people. And it was like at a certain time, our joints started to, cramp up, and we were like, where's that damn weed lotion? And so we go and we get that lotion, and we're all lubed up, we're all, everything's feeling good again. And it helps. It helps in many forms. Um,
Yeah, without
but
a
like how
doubt.
you said, in most cases, some people, have to find their niche,
Yeah,
especially when
yeah.
it comes to it, because not everybody's gonna be able to smoke, man. I've
Yeah. Go
I've
ahead, go
seen
ahead.
people spaz out. I was just saying, I've
Yeah,
same people spaz out from
same,
just a puff,
same.
and I'm like, damn, like this, and that's a real thing.
Yeah, yeah,
And so, there's positive and there's negative attributes. With the positive supersedes the negative every
definitely,
single time in this
definitely.
regard.
And there
Um,
are many ways to consume it. Like we said, you know what I'm saying? There's CBD, there's hemp, there's, smoking, there's eating, through whatever space cakes. There's even candy like
he
gummies, all of
said
that.
he said space cakes.
Yeah, space
That's what you guys got over there. I forgot.
space cakes, you know what I'm saying? But nah, definitely, man. But and also there's also a misconception. Like I said, smoking is smoking. Smoking is not the best thing to do.
Mm.
But when we're talking about addiction, weed itself is not an addictive substance. That's what people don't know.
And it's not a
Tobacco,
gate, and it's
to,
not a gateway drug either. All right.
tobacco is addictive. People who get addicted to smoking weed is because usually they put tobacco in it with the marijuana and they're addicted to the tobacco in there.
Mm.
You can get quote unquote addicted to the feeling of it, but that's more of like a mental thing, like, oh, I want to be high
Yeah,
again,
it's a
all of that.
euphoric.
But it's
It's
not an actual addiction. Like, you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? It's not an actual addiction. So tobacco smokers, that's an addictive thing. Weed itself is not, but like I said, for certain people, it doesn't work. For a lot of athletes, it does the same thing that you were talking about. Like at the end of the day, when they're done with like a big game and it's nighttime, they're ready to chill. They want to shut the buddy down, smoke a little blunt. It works for some. I've had teammates that actually smoke before the game and they play well doing that. But again,
During the
that's not
game.
something,
Yeah.
everybody can do. A lot of players cannot
Steve,
play high.
Steven,
You know what I'm
Steven,
saying?
Steven Jackson wouldn't be an NBA champion if he wasn't
Right,
smoking
right.
before
He's a
before game.
person,
He's
right.
admitted to it
He's a
as well.
person that could do that, but not everybody can do that. You know what I'm saying? So it works in different ways. It can definitely help out. Like you said, there's a lot more positive than negative. So yeah, we're definitely a pro ganja show over here at Vital Hoops.
Yeah.
But it's been illegal for so many years. Now it's starting to open up because they're being able to make money off of it. But there's been so many people that have been locked up, throughout the years, due to marijuana consumption. I think when we speak about that, I think about my Rastafari brothers and sisters, throughout the world. Rastafarians are everywhere. They're everywhere throughout the Caribbean. They're in the United States, they're in Europe, they're in the motherland. And they've been locked up for smoking marijuana for years. Sometimes, a lot of times, they say they lock them up for marijuana,
But it could be for other
but
reasons.
it could be
This is
for, it could be for organizing reasons, for rebellious reasons. And
well,
they say, oh, he had marijuana on him. They're bringing a certain type of consciousness as far as African identity throughout the Caribbean and all of that, that a lot of these governments don't like. And so,
exactly.
they try to they do away with that. I know in the United States, there's still lots of people that are still, even though it is legal in most states now, I believe a lot of people are still in prison because of marijuana. Shout out to the Last Prisoner Project, I believe it is called. They do work around that, around, people that are in prison for marijuana. Here in France, nowadays it's getting better. It's not legal here in France at all, but now you'll get, unless you have a certain amount that shows that you're selling, then you can really, even go to jail. If you have a little bit, you'll get like a fine or something like that, usually. But the police brutality around it is still bad. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's still something that's being demonized.
I want to piggyback with an example of like how you said certain individuals are in prison or have gone to prison for certain things, but really have they gone to prison for that, or has it been because they were organizing? An example of this, and our Commandante Kalanji could speak to this as well, is that Wesley Snipes didn't go to jail for evading taxes. He went to jail because he was getting ready to provide security services to Black communities. He was getting ready to arm. He was getting ready to do some militant shit, and they didn't like it. And so, what's the best thing that they have to do? Defame a man by saying that he don't pay his taxes.
Mm.
And so that's what happened. But that also goes for people who, whether it's you sold a $20 dime bag in '81, and you're still in prison now, and the state that you then sold that, that $20 eighth or whatever it was dime bag, is legalized there. You can go. There's a dispensary on every corner.
There's mad white people making money off of it.
Exactly, and that's one of the main components. I'm glad that you brought me on here because a lot of people don't make that connection. It's only accessible to us because white people wanted it to be accessible. So it wasn't until they, one, could make money off of it, and two, they got the approval from white society that says, yeah, we want this. Because again, we live under an imperial core that suits the needs of what? Settlers. Okay, it suits the needs of consumption, corporate capitalism. And so it wasn't until those businesses were able to latch on to every aspect of it, regulate it. Everything in the US is regulated by the state. Unless you know somebody like myself, I know somebody that grows it. So I don't have to worry. I'm not out here buying it like that as well.
And you can
Like
make sure it's organic.
Exactly. I can monitor it. I know the source. I know where it came from. And I don't think people don't make that connection that it is so state regulated that what you smoke that's in the stores is regulated by the state. Which means you gotta check what it's made out of.
Right.
You gotta check what it's made out of, because guaranteed, they're doing their own little concoctions, and they're, mixing things up. They're not doing the old school approach where you just put a bunch of fish water, in a weed plant, and you give it all the nasty shit, and it just, the sticky icky comes out, if you treat it right, you give it love. They're not doing that. They're creating it on a mass level. They're using pesticides. They're using fumigation. They're fumigating. It's chemicals, and so anything that's regulated by the state could be a weapon used against the people for the state. And so yeah, like I want to say thank you, one, for allowing me to be on here to talk about this, because it's a vital conversation. It's essential for the masses of people to know the ins and outs, the history, why hemp or cannabis in general is outlawed, and its connections to hemp, all of these things. I think people think it's, they think CBD, hemp, and marijuana are all three different things, and they're not. They're essentially the same thing. You just treat it, they're tended to a little bit differently. They're used for different purposes.
Yeah, definitely. So, like I said, it is it's like everything else. I encourage everybody to get educated on it. You know what I'm saying? If you're
Yes.
gonna consume something, definitely get educated on it, do your research. And something could be good for somebody, it could be bad for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa. But everything in moderation. You know what I mean? It's all about balance. But with that being said, shout out to all my weed smokers and burn Babylon.
I know BPM Reloaded's chat right now is
Hey, listen,
that
man.
live chat's
The
probably
heal,
booming
the,
right now.
the healing of the healing of a nation. Like I said, man. Bob said it make you rebel, man. So listen, yo. So listen, man. I appreciate you, man, for breaking it down. If there's anything else you wanna lay on that, because I want us to talk a little bit of basketball.
Yeah, I just for the viewers that are out there, you probably might have some ill-conceived notions about marijuana. And I hope that at least this conversation steers you in the right direction of understanding that it is a positive. There's a question that was pondered or at least brung about 4 or 5 years ago on if marijuana would be legal under socialism, scientific socialism. Yes, it would.
Mm,
The major benefits that marijuana brings, and I'm excluding completely consumption and finance out of it because I'm a scientific socialist. So I'm looking at it for the benefit of the mind, the body, and the soul, and what that could do for people. I'm hoping that this, this was a conversation that people were able to at least hone in on how it has been outlawed and how when it wasn't outlawed, it only suited the needs of imperialism
mm,
and how it does that now today.
yeah,
So smoke up. Don't feel like you're less of a revolutionary because you smoke weed.
not at all.
That's ignorant.
Yeah.
And I would even say to, all the cognac lovers, out there, don't be refrained from even showing your love for cognac.
Mm,
I think Africans should take back things that they've created. I think Africans that are here in the occupied territories of Turtle Island need to take back Jack Daniels because that was created by a black man.
mm,
Um, we got to start taking back what's ours. And I think we need to start taking back how we talk about certain things that are positive to our society, like hemp,
yeah.
like CBD, like marijuana. So smoke up.
Yeah.
There's a dude by the name of Kobe Bryant behind my guy that would probably advocate for this if he was alive today as well, because of the major benefits of it. And so yeah,
Yeah.
again, thank you,
And
bro, for at least allowing me to give the historical
yeah,
analysis on hemp. I'm
thank
not
you,
I'm
man.
not the best expert on CBD. I'm a
Hey,
habitual smoker, so I can give you my
listen.
thoughts on that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
most importantly, I'm glad that I was able to get some history out there.
No, I appreciate that, man. And like we said, it's been around for many years, and it before it was something to just get high on. It was definitely a plant that was healing people. It was helping heal people, and it was also hemp. It was used as hemp for a variety of things.
Clothing,
It's
clothing
clothing
was
for
made.
years. Yeah.
How do we go? How
Mm.
do we go from hemp making t-shirts and pants
Yeah.
and underwear to now we have nylon polyester mixes, with cotton and all of this, that we all know is our byproducts of carbon emissions. So we went from a healthy lifestyle to allowing corporate capitalism to then
Absolutely.
fester, grow, and then make byproducts of emissions actual products that they
Yeah.
then get sold that are detrimental to
Yeah. Yeah.
us. One thing
Yeah.
too, and I know this has nothing to do with it, but I've just recently got into this. Start checking the glass in your house, dude. I'm gonna send you something. It's a link, and they give you a free. It's a website that gives you a free uranium glass check to see if there's any radiation in your glass because they
Mm.
were making glass out of uranium.
Mm.
um and so that, a lot of weed places have been caught using these same uranium glass, again using uranium glass to then conceal marijuana, that then the marijuana in of it itself becomes tainted. So As
Wow.
much as there's positive aspects, there's also negative things that corporate capitalism
Yeah.
has brung into the marijuana production industry that is detrimental to our health. So I just wanted to highlight that. Like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
send you the link because
Appreciate it.
one thing I look out for is the children,
Yeah.
and to make sure that they're not affected by anything like that. So, but yeah, I
Appreciate that.
know I took
Yeah.
it.
No, no, no. So good, man. It's on topic, man. And before we move on, man, you mentioned marijuana being legal in a scientific socialist society. And I agree with you 100%. And it's funny that you mentioned that because unfortunately, in Cuba, it is not legal, and it is vilified. Very much so, I know some people that have had that's been locked up more than once because of marijuana. It's unfortunate, but it's like everywhere else. There's a lot of
Would you
work
say
to
would
be
you
done.
say that that's connected to um and I'm this is like a serious fucking question because I didn't even know it was like that in
Oh
Cuba. I
yeah,
thought
oh yeah.
I'm
Smoking
like
is serious. It's seriously,
yeah, I'm like
it's.
shoot, Asada's over there, probably
Mm-mm.
rolling one up. Nope, not doing
Hey
that.
man, listen. No, it,
um
it doesn't mean that people don't do it like everywhere else. Even though it is illegal. But it is illegal, and people do get in trouble for it. For simply smoking. So yeah, definitely the Rastafari community, a lot of good brothers of mine that I know, comrades, you know what I'm saying, from the hip hop movement have gotten in trouble for it, just for marijuana for consumption. Um, I couldn't tell you exactly what it is. Part of it is also, I don't know, man. This could be a whole nother episode. We could get
I
into
was
it.
gonna say,
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
say, there's a
W-
lot of
w-
there's a lot of things that are coming to my mind. I mean, one, and we've spoken about this on numerous occasions. You've lived it, so I can only, speak to what I see with my eyes and what
mm,
I've read. um, is that there's still an anti-black problem that is in Cuba,
there
and
is,
I
yeah.
wouldn't doubt if that's one of the major connections as to why marijuana is outlawed because of its connections to the African diaspora.
Yeah. I mean,
And
I can guarantee you that white smokers have gotten in less trouble for smoking than black smokers in Cuba. That's for sure. But yeah, that's without a doubt, man.
yeah, I'd love to get you and Vlad on the network so that we could maybe that'll be the second part to this,
Yeah,
where we
no
have this
doubt.
first part people see over here. The second part we can include, Vlad, anybody else that wants to join,
Yeah,
in regards to like how weed is illegal in Cuba, but its connections to the African diaspora makes this a very, a clear indication that it might be rooted in racism as to why this is outlawed.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, we're gonna
I
get
didn't
into
know
that.
that. I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
know that, man. No, you
yeah, yeah.
surprised me today because I'm not that like I've been going around telling people like, oh, you can smoke in Cuba.
No, no,
It's
no,
just like
no, no.
you think socialism and you think, okay, they're not really caring about stuff like that. They're
Mm-mm.
caring about infrastructure. They're caring about, housing. They're caring about roads. They're caring about education. But no, they actually care about if people are, getting medicinally high, which is, you
Hey,
know,
man, listen,
Fidel and
the
Che are rolling over in their grave right now.
hey, man. But yeah, man, definitely, man. I appreciate you for this talk, man, on weed, cannabis, CBD, hemp, all of that, man. This is definitely important, man. All right, let's please and everybody out there checking us out. If you have any questions about any of this, man, let us know. Put them in the comments, and we definitely try to get back to you. We appreciate you. Make sure you like, share this video. Yo, let's talk a little bit basketball before I let you go, man. Your Lakers, man. Lake Show. They not looking bad at all, man. You're like what, fourth, I
No.
believe, in the West right now?
I think we're fourth or fifth
Yeah.
in the
I think
West.
you're like four.
We unfortunately let go of my guy D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah.
I've been a big, me and him are the same age.
Mm.
Um, and it's cool to see someone your age do something like that. I gotta
Right.
give credit where credit is due. Homeboy is a fantastic baller. I've seen his growth, and I think
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
that's why that's why I'm so heavy on him as a player because I've seen his growth. I've seen him go from the lowest of the lows to where he's at now, where it's like he holds his head up high. It's not really involved in drama.
Absolutely.
Is a family man, to
Yeah.
see that he's a father. And also too, I love that he brings a different approach to podcasting, bro, that I've yet to see.
I'm not familiar with that one, man.
Uh,
I haven't checked
he
out his
he has
show.
a podcast called The Backyard, and if I could ever get a job working for this dude, I let me join production for that, bro, because it's just one thing when like Draymond Green has his fucking show like where he gets away with talking shit about things that he doesn't know
Mm.
versus D'Angelo Russell, it's all life. Like it's all about like he was talking about, and I actually sent him a message. I was like, I don't know if you're gonna see this, but we're from the African diaspora. We don't watch, movies about Green Berets and stuff like that. But no, man, like seeing him leave was hard, but we're in a good position now. And I think he's in a better position. And I always look at the mental health side of players. And, I can only imagine how hard it is to play with LeBron, yet alone AD. And so I wish him the best. But like how you said, my Lakers are doing good.
They're doing good, yeah.
Arguably, if we had the same coaches last year, I think we'd be in the same position. And that's a conversation that maybe me and you could have too on
Yeah.
another day. To expand maybe on breaking the backboard, you can join on Monday. We're going to be talking about the amount of leeway that white coaches get versus black
Mm.
coaches. We just seen
Yes.
Mike Brown, who was last year's coach of the year, be fired after a 5-game losing
From
streak that
sack count. Yeah.
arguably could be blamed on
That's
his players
crazy.
not exhibiting any effort on the court. Like, let's
That's a
just keep it
crazy
real.
fire. That's a
That
wild
that
that's nobody can understand that
the
one, man.
Monty Williams being fired, I could understand that because one homeboy went from literally being in the finals one year to the next year being the worst team in the league. So mental health
Right,
wise,
right,
he wasn't there. He
right.
wasn't gonna be able to get that he wasn't gonna be able to help youth. He was in a different set with vets, well-rounded vets, and now you go to you only got maybe 2 vets on the team. They don't really want to be here, and I got a bunch of youth and I need to help produce, I need to help put, and mold into superstars, into
Yeah.
role players. Um, I didn't see that with the Mike Brown situation.
No, that was crazy.
I seen you got rid of a black man after practice too, before they got on the plane.
That was crazy.
Hit him up and was like, yeah, we no longer need your services.
Yeah.
And then you got De'Aaron Fox saying, oh, well, everything's guaranteed, in the NBA, basically saying like, I don't give a shit if they fired him. He got paid
They're like he's
regardless.
getting his money. Yeah.
And it's like that's the environment of the league now.
Yeah.
It's like where stuff like that could happen. And I know I went into the Kings. You asked me about the Lakers.
Yeah. When it comes to the Lakers, man, I want to get on LeBron real quick, man, because, we're seeing something special, man. LeBron James is like a, very extremely special players. Obviously, he's almost done. Almost could mean at the end of this season, at the end of next season.
I think
I don't think
he
it'll go
waits.
past that,
I
but
think he waits for Bryce. I think he waits for Bryce to get to the NBA.
to
I
make
think
it, you think
Bryce.
so?
I think Bryce has one more year of high school, and then he'll go to Arizona. He committed to Arizona a couple days ago.
So that would mean LeBron would play this year and then 2 more years, you think?
I think he has about 3 more years left. And like how he said, like
Wow.
again, you got to look at it too. He has not slowed down like
Yeah.
at all. Homeboy just scored 30 points like last night I watched,
Yeah.
you know?
Now it's
Uh
crazy. What he's doing is crazy. As far as his
yeah,
longevity, this wow.
I think what needs to happen, and I've already seen it, I think that they've seen the writing on the wall, is we're gonna have to reduce your minutes in a very special way, like that no
Yeah.
one has ever done before. Um, I firmly believe that JJ Redick knows how to load manage LeBron. Because
But
he was a
LeBron is
former
not willing to do it so far.
Le,
He
LeBron,
doesn't want to do it.
you got to read between the lines. I think he is. I
Okay.
think the little hiatus that he took, the people said because he was connected to the Diddy case and whatnot.
Hmm.
I think that was planned. I think that they said, you know what? We need time to get everybody else warmed up. We're running the offense through you and AD, but what about our role players? we got to start making sure that they know how to act on the court when you're not there, because there's
Yeah.
going to be times when you're not. And I think that they found that niche. These last two games, AD didn't play against Portland, and he played against Atlanta. And I think they're managing their load time in a way that I've never seen before.
Right.
That doesn't look like load management. It looks like they just, they're out there, they're playing, but it doesn't look like it's load management.
Mm.
If he plays 3 more years, I see him. I can see him right now averaging 30 points a game. He's already doing it. I don't see those numbers going down. I do see his minutes being restricted. If they somehow some way find a trade to get 80 some front court help,
Yeah.
then I think that his load management steps up a little bit more, because then they can run the offense through AD, which we did during the 2021 or the 2020 finals. We ran it through him.
Yeah.
Our championship does not come unless we have 40-point AD every game in the playoffs. So yeah, my Lakers are in a good position.
Yeah.
I think LeBron, I think he knows the writing's on the wall,
Yeah.
but I also think that he's using his time wisely. And I think he's being patient. And I think, again, he's a man who obviously likes to make history. Every
Of course.
night is a history
Yeah.
night, for
Yeah.
him now. So it wouldn't doubt me that he, tries to stick around for Bryce. I could say right now, Bryce is the better the James sons.
Mm.
In my opinion, he's more scrappier. He looks more NBA ready at this point than his brother does.
He's a lot taller too. He's a lot taller.
He's a lot taller than him, and so again, I think he's waiting for Bryce. And I wouldn't doubt it if we might. And this is also something too. I want Lakers fans to understand. There's a possibility that he might not be a Laker next year.
Yeah.
He might ask to be traded somewhere. He might ask to be
Hey,
traded
man.
before it's February.
That would be crazy. I don't think that would be a good move though. See, I'm gonna be honest. I don't see him. I don't see it like you, man. I don't see him playing 3 more years. I think he'll be done this year or next. I think next year might be his last season. I don't think he's gonna wait for Bryce, man. I don't think so.
I don't know. Some tells me he's waiting for Bryce.
I
I
don't
mean, he
think
said
so.
he
We'll
said it
see.
himself. He said that he could play at least 5 to 7 more years, he thinks.
He could, but
Uh,
I think he wants to go out still playing at a high level and still knowing that he could play a couple more years, but he's deciding to retire.
yeah.
Not like I'm retiring because I'm done. I can no longer do it. These new guys are too good. He doesn't want to retire that way or retire because I'm injured or whatever. Nah, he wants to retire like, all right, this is my decision. I'm good to go, even though I could still, I think he wants to live just a little bit in the gas tank still. Like, yo, I could still do this, but I'm good. You know, I think like, that's kind of like the best way to go out, like, yo, he's healthy. The worst way to go out is with an injury, obviously. Like, I can no longer do it because I got
Well,
hurt.
he's gonna win. He's
Yeah.
gonna win another title before he ends his career.
You think so?
I'm. I mean, I'm a Laker
Hey
fan.
man, we'll see. Yeah, yeah,
We think we're gonna win every year, the
yeah,
Lakers.
yeah, yeah.
And I think right now, again, if we could get a bruiser center, if we can get someone to help
Mm,
AD out, and that way it spaces the floor a little bit for AD.
yeah.
Since he's, AD loves to think that he's a 6'3" point guard. I don't know what it is, but in his mind, he thinks he's a 6'4", 6'3" point guard.
Hey
And
man.
it does, again, lack of understanding how big your body is the problem with AD right now.
Right, right.
Um, I think the way that the West is panning out, I mean, we're seeing what's going on in San Antonio. We're seeing
Hmm.
what's going on, in Sacramento. We
Hmm.
know that, we got some young guns in Houston. Obviously OKC being the first in the West. Um,
Memphis,
I
Memphis is up there.
Yeah, Memphis is up there. I genuinely think that the roster that we have, if we could just add maybe two more a center and maybe a ball handler, a heavy ball handler, I think the Lakers have a chance to sweep through the playoffs and potentially make it to the Western Conference
Listen,
finals.
the West is gonna be serious in the playoffs this year. It's gonna be wild, man.
And we got Kawhi Leonard is coming back tonight. So that's right on par for when, he starts to, ramp up and,
Because
you
look,
know,
all the way up to the 11th seed is really good teams. 11th seed right now is the Suns. Then 10th is Minnesota. Ninth is Warriors. Eighth is Spurs. Seven is Clippers. Six is Mavs. Five is Nuggets. Then you got the Lakers, you got the Rockets, Grizzlies, and Thunder. So like it's gonna be battles. It's gonna be tough, man.
yeah, and the Thunder have only lost 5 games. They're on a 15
The
or on a 14 game win streak.
29 W's, man. That's crazy. So we're looking at, yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. But the Lakers, yeah, like you said, I think they're always a team that can be a contender. It all depends on when it comes to the playoff time, if they click at the right time, if they're injury free, and if they get maybe one more piece that could really put it all together. But they always in the possibility to be a contender. Yeah, I believe, no doubt. When you have LeBron and AD, like. But let's talk about my Knicks a little bit, man. Let's talk about my Knicks, man. I'm glad, man.
Nova Knicks, your
My
Nova Knicks.
my New York Knicks, man. My DiVincenzo-less New York Knicks, man. Hey, man. Fourth in the East. You know what I'm saying? Third right now, actually, after Cleveland and Boston. They're playing good basketball, man. They're playing really good basketball. They were on a long winning streak not too long ago. They just I believe they
Yeah,
just
they were on a 9 game winning
yeah,
streak.
yeah,
They just
they were
lost
on a,
one.
yeah, yeah. They were on a long winning streak. They've been doing great. It's working. It's starting to click, man. Cat has been playing with his chest out. He's doing good under the pressure of the New York Knicks lights. It's because big markets are not always easy, man. Like Knicks, Lakers, it's not for everybody. It's a market where you're gonna have the media is gonna be constantly on you. Soon as you lose a game, you're the worst player ever. Soon as you win, you're the
Well,
Messiah.
Cat's at home. Cat's at home, and I
Yeah,
think
yeah, that's true.
that's what's making your Knicks look the way that they are, look and feel, and is the
Yeah,
way that they are, is because they're all locked in.
they are.
Um, we got to understand, Cat is less than 4 years removed from his mom passing away, and so I can only imagine, the
True.
rehabilitation mentally that he's had to do to be able to get to this moment
Mm,
right now, for him to be playing some of the most fucking fantastic basketball I've seen him play
yeah,
in a very long time. And I think it's because he has that, one, he's back with his old coach. I think Thibodeau is Thibodeau. Like,
yeah,
you know, um, he knows how to get the best out of Cat. He knows
yeah.
how to get the best out of Josh Hart. He knows how
Mm,
to get the best out of Jalen Brunson. Your guys' team has always had. I mean, when you have 3 players that have played together since university,
yeah,
that in of it itself builds
yeah,
a championship pedigree.
for sure. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I enjoy watching your Knicks. I can say I watch them from time to time, and I think the West is or the East is starting to look scary.
Yeah, the East is
Um,
looking pretty good.
and maybe that's the league getting tired of the West always taking always taking the
No,
championship.
no, but I mean, when you look at it, the West is still a lot stronger right now. West is still looking a lot stronger if you look at it. But nah, the Knicks, I like what they're doing as well. The Cavs have been surprising, but not to get off of the Knicks real quick. But yeah, the Knicks, from the beginning, I'm not gonna hide it. I spoke about it, I didn't like us letting go of Julius Randle, especially more than DiVincenzo. I didn't care so much about DiVincenzo, but I felt like Julius Randle, when the Knicks were down, he helped us come back and become a team that mattered again. And I just feel like, those type of players, they can really become a fabric, and really start playing, really start giving something special for that team because they feel like they were the ones that. So I don't like getting rid of those type of players. But obviously, NBA is a business, and a player like Cat, is also a generational player, once in a lifetime player that, you don't really pass up on. It is a talent. It is a league that's, it's about talent. It's the best players in the world. And so a guy like Cat, man, and it's definitely working out. If it clicks, if it works, it works. And now it's right now it's working. I hope it continues to work, man. And and the Knicks
Yeah.
can do a good push, man, throughout the playoffs and go far.
Yeah, and you can tell obviously who won the trade versus the
Yeah,
Timberwolves in New York.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
One, because I think Dante DiVincenzo has a certain attitude that I think, is it's respected, but it's also at the same time it takes away from the game.
Yeah.
Julius Randle, I mean, he was a Laker before he was a Knick.
Hmm.
He was, we got him at number 4. And he left before when LeBron came in.
Yeah, he learned a lot
Um,
from Kobe.
and he's always been someone, and me and Ryan go back and forth sometimes on this, because I genuinely think that the Lakers should try and get, if you made a habit of getting D'Angelo Russell, let's try and get Randall back. Let's try and see what that might look like next to AD, because I guarantee you, AD gets the help that he's needed.
Mm.
But moreover, Randall's a Laker. I don't care what anybody says. That man's a Laker. And I'd love to see him back in a Laker uniform, mainly because I know it's not working in Minnesota. I think that
Yeah.
that trade was solely to get Cat out of Minnesota and to get Minnesota away from evading of paying him another max extension. And so, I hope that he finds his way. He
Yeah,
finds
yeah,
his way
definitely.
towards the Lakers. But if not, it's
That would
all
be
good.
dope, man.
But like how you said, he's such a fantastic player. I think he's good for the locker room. His son's fucking adorable. So there's just a lot of positivity that comes with Julius Randle, and I'd like to see Dante DiVincenzo go back to where he started at, because I think they need him. And that's with the Warriors. I think
Yeah.
the Warriors, kind of did him a little dirty. We all know how Mike Dunleavy is, or at
Mm.
least I do. And so
Yeah, man.
your Knicks are in a good spot. I think my Lakers are in a good spot. I think
Hey,
both teams are probably a trade away from fully being complete.
we
More so
we
my Lakers than your Knicks. So,
we mess around and see a Knicks Lakers finals, man.
whoo,
That would be crazy,
whoo.
man. That would be
That'd be
crazy.
dope. That would be dope, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man, shout out to my boy JJ, man. One of my closest friends. We grew up together, in Cuba, but he's Jamaican actually, and he's a lifelong Lakers fan, so he
he
was
is.
yeah, he was a Kobe guy when we was little. He was a Kobe guy, Kobe with the fro, and me, I was a Latrell Sprewell guy with the Knicks. And we used to have those wars, man. But shout out to my boy. Um, but yeah, man, appreciate you, comrade. Listen, before we
Mhm.
go, let's real quick talk about this little thing, man. I sent you a clip. Sent you
Yeah.
I sent you a clip, man. I didn't know, man. I was just scrolling through IG real quick. Give the listeners some context. I was scrolling through IG and I see this guy hooping, making a move. NBA. I think he's with the Blazers, so he's doing
Mhm.
like a ball fake on his first
Like
step, and
into like a
LeBron jumps. Who's the second player? Another player jumps. You know what I'm saying? Both of them fall down, and then he takes his second step, lays the ball up. Then he
Mhm.
points at them. He's acting like he's all nice and shit. I'm like, man, who is this clown, man? So then I clicked on the shit. I looked at his profile. This guy got an Israel flag on his shit, man.
Mm.
Danny Avdija, that's his name. Listen, man, it's been crazy, but we've seen a lot of faces, man, show up, man. First of all, man, free Palestine, man.
Yes, free
Let's say
Palestine.
that, man. Free
Um,
Palestine.
can I say this on your network?
Yeah,
Uh,
you can say what you want, man. There's no censorship on the Vital Hoops.
Fuck Patrick Beverly.
Mm,
I think he's the scum of the earth, in my opinion. When you turn your back on indigenous people, when you turn your back on a struggle that is intrinsically connected to your African roots,
mm,
the fact that you have a Muslim wife, dog, and you decided to go and make money playing for a genocidal basketball team,
mm.
for which all of the players that you play with are IOF soldiers and have served in the IOF,
That's crazy.
which means that they've murdered children. Um, to know that this dude, though, on the court, he gets to actively exhibit his IOF complicity. Again, if he puts that Israeli flag in his bio and he says he's from Israel and he has citizenship in Israel, that means that that dude who made that layup has murdered children, and he
Mm,
gets to play basketball in the National Basketball Association. So you see the double standards that are here? Is that Kyrie Irving
Thank you for bringing it up. Yeah.
could make a mistake in retweeting something that was anti-Semitic, but this dude who is the real anti-Semite, gets to have all over his page.
Throw a flag on his page, man.
Throw,
At this point, I don't care where you were born or where you're from. If you
yeah,
have an Israeli flag on if you waving that flag, you repping genocide heavy.
it's
You with it,
all the way. Like
you
you
know.
can't say that you're not.
Mm,
But again, it's a brazen double standard here.
mm,
That is, Western imperialism is that, the person who stands with the Semites, like Kyrie Irving, like
mm,
Jaylen Brown, they'll lose endorsements because they don't want to suck up to Zionism or to AIPAC.
mm-hmm,
But this dude, who's the actual anti-Semite, who
mm,
has actually murdered children, probably,
mm.
gets to literally endorsed by Israeli products, makes videos where he speaks to children. Again, this is manipulation at
That's
its
crazy.
finest. Asking them how they like, Israel, how they, and again, all these kids have dual citizenship, okay? Which means that they have other places that they were born at, that they were
Mm,
born to. And they come and they inflict occupational genocide onto the Palestinians. And so for those that don't, that aren't aware, I am a geopolitical analyst. I do research in regards to Gaza, Lebanon, Syria. I'm highly
yes.
invested in that. I get reports daily. This is something that's serious to me because again, this is a double standard against
Mm-hmm.
individuals. And again, you praise the anti-Semite, but then you disregard the person who doesn't want to be an anti-Semite and who stands with the Semites. Um, it's
Yeah.
wild.
We
And
know
you
what
showed
time
this
it
to
is,
me.
man.
Yeah,
The NBA has, they've chosen their position, man. We know what time it is.
exactly. And LeBron is no exception to
Yeah.
this at all.
Mm.
LeBron at one point
Unfortunately.
retweeted and still like was like that I stand with the Israel. Like, he's done that before, so it's not like
Right.
we're I'm pointing out an actual anti-Semite. You are in particular as well, because you're the one who brought this to my attention. I'm actually right now writing an article that's going to be coming out on this dude and other individuals that are I really want to know how many of these individuals are IOF soldiers and
Mm.
have served in the IOF, meaning that they've killed people. Because the only way that you have citizenship in Israel is if you join the military. So he's joined the military.
Right.
That's a fact at this point.
Yeah.
Now we need to get down to how many people has he killed? And is the
Mm.
NBA going to hold him accountable? No, they aren't, which is another example as to why the National Basketball Association under corporate capitalism is nothing more than an aesthetic that upholds imperialism. It
Of course.
upholds the values of anti-Semitism. It
Mm.
upholds the values of ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people. Like I've said this, I say this on numerous times. There's Lakers fans that are Palestinian. There's Knicks fans that are Palestinian. Palestinians exist. They're alive and well.
Mm.
And they're the rightful indigenous people to so-called Israel, which is known as Palestine, in West Asia. So yeah, you bringing this up, bro, I'm glad because it got me out of my writer's block. So I
Mm.
was able to, I'm doing research right now. So in regards to this, he's not the only
So,
IOF soldier.
mm.
He's not the IOF NBA soldier.
Mm. Yeah,
So
man. Hey, man, listen, this is serious, man. But thank you for doing that work, man. And definitely gonna encourage everybody, like I said, to hop over to your network, to the Indigenous Nightmare Network, and follow up on all of that.
yeah,
Get up and read the article when it comes out. And thank you for being here, man. Second time around.
yeah,
There'll definitely be a third one, man.
yeah,
Appreciate you. And I do want to say that, listen, I love being over on your network, man. Breaking the backboard. I enjoy it so much. Unfortunately I can't be there that as often as I would like to
yeah.
because of work, Mondays, which are, a heavy work day for me usually. So, but
Yeah,
definitely
you're more
when
of on the holidays when during on your
right,
breaks,
right, right, right. But
which is dope.
when I
It
can,
adds,
I'm there. I'm there when I
yeah,
can, man, for sure.
it makes for a special occasion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because we got more heads on there. Ikemba,
Yeah, shout out to
is
Ikemba, man. He be on there too with us, man, and
yeah,
everybody. But
yeah. Ikemba was on there. It's again, it's a show dedicated to decolonial basketball takes. We obviously shoot the shit. on our favorite teams and whatnot. But most importantly, we try and bring, you know, that decolonial analysis in regards to hoops and
No
getting people
doubt.
to understand certain things. So Monday, we will be going over what we talked about today, you know, Zionism in the NBA. That actually will be the title, Zionism in the NBA. And hopefully by then I'll have the article finished.
No doubt.
No, thank you
Appreciate
though,
it.
man, for having me back on. I look forward to being back on, and yeah, 2025 is big for BPM Reloaded, its members.
No
The
doubt.
cadre is growing, and I can't wait, man. I think, you know, trying not to give out too much, you know, but just know that things are in the work.
Mhm.
If people thought that BPM Reloaded was going to get left in the dust in 2024, you got another thing coming. You know,
That's right.
we're principled. We're not with the bullshit. We're not wanting the bullshit. We're here for liberation, and we're going to show you what that looks like. We know that there's other networks that are out there that you guys could be tuning into, but we're glad that you guys tune into us. You know, because it shows that the work that we do, one, is vital. Shout out to Vital Hoops, you know, but at the same time, it's essential. And it's needed. And so every aspect of BPM Reloaded again is being upgraded. We're on the rise. So shout out to the Rise Up crew as well.
No doubt.
Everything is running smoothly, and we're gunning. We got our aim set high. So I can't
No
wait for you
doubt.
guys to enjoy the content.
For sure. Appreciate it. We're gonna have the link, you know, to the Indigenous Nightmare Network down in the description. And that's it. Thank you, comrade. Uhuru.
Uhuru.
All right. Episode 74 is in the books. Much respect to the comrade Isaac Jasper. Make sure you go over to the Indigenous Nightmare Network. Also, please support Vital Hoops if you can financially. If not, simply by sharing this with a friend. And we appreciate you very much. Follow us on Instagram at Vital Hoops Podcast. 2025 is going to be a heavy year for the Vital Hoops Podcast. We got a lot coming. Thank you for rocking with us. Vital Hoops is for the people, by the people, for the culture. Uhuru.